When a woman you once let go suddenly reappears in your life, most men immediately misinterpret what is happening. They assume it means she finally realized your value, that she misses you deeply, or that fate is giving you a second chance to fix what went wrong. This assumption is dangerous because it places you back into a reactive, hopeful, and emotionally dependent position before anything has actually happened. In reality, when she comes back, it is almost never about love in the way men define love. It is about uncertainty, curiosity, and an unconscious need to reassess the power dynamic between you and her. She is not returning to give, she is returning to evaluate. She wants to see whether you are still the same man she could emotionally influence, or whether you have genuinely grown into someone stronger, calmer, and more self-directed. Women are emotionally driven and respond to how a man makes them feel in the present moment, not to promises, memories, or potential. When she left, something about the emotional experience with you stopped stimulating her. It could have been neediness, predictability, emotional volatility, lack of purpose, or simply that she felt she had more leverage than you. When a woman senses that she has more power in the relationship, attraction begins to die. Letting her go, whether by choice or circumstance, interrupts that emotional certainty. Time and distance allow her feelings to settle, and curiosity begins to replace certainty. Curiosity is powerful. It makes her wonder if she made the right decision, if you changed, or if she misjudged your value. That curiosity is what brings her back. Not commitment, not love, and certainly not loyalty. This is why her return is a test. She is subconsciously asking one core question: is this man different now, or is he still the same? Every interaction from this point forward is designed to answer that question. She will watch how quickly you respond, how much emotional weight you give her presence, how eager you seem, and whether your life appears full or empty without her. If you immediately express excitement, relief, or emotional intensity, you communicate that your happiness still depends on her. That tells her nothing has changed. The attraction she lost will not magically reappear just because time passed. In fact, her interest will often drop faster the moment she realizes she still has emotional control over you. Men often believe they need to prove growth by explaining how much they've learned, how they've changed, or how things would be different this time. This is another trap. Real growth does not need to be explained, it is felt. A man who has genuinely improved his emotional discipline, confidence, and purpose does not rush to convince anyone of it. He simply lives it. His tone is relaxed, his responses are measured, his presence feels grounded. He is not seeking reassurance or direction from her. This emotional self-sufficiency is what women instinctively respond to, even if they cannot articulate why. When she comes back, she will often do subtle things to provoke old patterns. She may reminisce about the past, bring up unresolved issues, or casually mention other men. None of this is accidental. She is probing your emotional stability. If you defend yourself, argue facts, or try to correct her perception, you reveal insecurity. If you become jealous or visibly bothered, you reveal attachment. If you try to lock her down with serious conversations too early, you reveal fear of losing her again. Each of these reactions confirms to her that you have not changed at the core level. Emotional reactions are predictable, and predictability kills attraction. Passing the test requires a complete shift in how you view the situation. You must understand that her return does not elevate her value or reduce yours. It is neutral information. She is simply showing up. You do not owe her emotional access, explanations, or reassurance. You meet her where she is without expectations. You are polite, calm, and present, but you are not chasing outcomes. This emotional neutrality is incredibly powerful because it creates uncertainty on her end. She no longer knows where she stands with you, and that uncertainty is what reignites attraction. A man who passes this test is not trying to win her back. He is allowing her to experience him again under new conditions. He does not bring up commitment, exclusivity, or the future unless she does. He does not ask why she left or why she came back. He does not seek closure or validation. He stays focused on the present interaction. He enjoys the moment, then returns to his life. This behavior communicates abundance. It tells her that his world is full, his direction is clear, and she is an addition, not the center. What most men fail to realize is that the moment she left was a turning point that forced growth, whether they wanted it or not. If you use that time to build discipline, improve your body, advance your career, deepen your purpose, and strengthen your emotional control, then her return becomes irrelevant to your sense of self. If you did not, her return becomes emotionally overwhelming. This is why so many men sabotage second chances. They approach them with desperation masked as enthusiasm. Women feel this immediately. Attraction does not respond to effort. It responds to emotional strength. Another critical aspect of this test is boundaries. When she returns, she may want emotional intimacy without commitment, attention without effort, or validation without investment. If you give freely without requiring reciprocity, you reinforce the old dynamic where she held power and you accommodated. A man who has grown understands that access to his time, energy, and emotional presence is earned. He is warm but selective. He listens but does not chase. He engages but does not overextend. This balance creates respect, and respect is the foundation of sustainable attraction. It is also important to understand that passing her test does not guarantee she will stay, and that must be acceptable to you. The goal is not to secure her return. The goal is to confirm your own growth. If she senses that you are outcome independent, that you are willing to let her walk away again without collapsing emotionally, she faces a decision. She must either rise to your level or remove herself. Either outcome benefits you. Remaining attached to a woman who only returns to test your availability keeps you trapped in emotional limbo. Walking away from that dynamic preserves your self-respect and future potential. Women are biologically wired to seek strength, stability, and leadership in a partner. These traits are not expressed through control or dominance, but through emotional consistency and self-direction. When she comes back, she is looking for evidence of these qualities, not in words, but in how you move through the interaction, how you pause before responding, how you smile instead of react, how you listen without trying to fix or impress. These small behaviors signal massive internal change. When a woman comes back into your life after you have let her go, the emotional instinct for most men is to lean forward. They feel a surge of hope, excitement, and urgency. They believe this is the moment to show interest, effort, and desire so they don't lose the opportunity again. This instinct feels natural, but it is exactly what destroys attraction at this stage. What actually pulls a woman back emotionally is not how much you want her, but how little you need her. Indifference, when genuine and grounded, is far more attractive than desire because it signals strength, self-respect, and emotional abundance. Desire communicates attachment, attachment communicates dependence, dependence communicates weakness. Women do not consciously think in these terms, but they feel the emotional weight of it instantly. When you show strong desire the moment she reappears, you send a clear message. Your emotional state still revolves around her presence. This removes all mystery and all challenge. She already knows she can have you, and attraction cannot grow where certainty already exists. Indifference reintroduces uncertainty. It makes her wonder where she stands with you, how much access she truly has, and whether she still holds the same influence over your emotions. Indifference does not mean coldness, rudeness, or pretending you don't care. Those behaviors are still reactions, just in a different direction. True indifference is calm, relaxed, and emotionally neutral. You are friendly, present, and engaged, but not invested in a specific outcome. You are not trying to impress her, convince her, or win her back. You are simply being yourself and allowing her to experience you without pressure. This emotional neutrality creates space for attraction to rebuild naturally. When a woman returns, she often expects to feel wanted immediately. She anticipates enthusiasm, validation, and reassurance. When she does not receive that, her emotional radar activates. She begins paying closer attention to your tone, your pace, and your behavior. She senses that something has changed. This shift makes her lean in emotionally, even if she doesn't consciously realize it. Indifference flips the dynamic. Instead of you wondering what she feels, she starts wondering what you feel. Men often confuse indifference with playing games. This is a mistake. Playing games requires effort and strategy, which means you are still emotionally invested. Genuine indifference comes from having a full life, clear priorities, and a strong sense of self. When your time is occupied by purpose, growth, and direction, you naturally stop centering your emotional world around one person. This is what women respond to. They are drawn to men whose lives are already in motion, not men waiting to be chosen. Another reason indifference is so powerful is that it removes pressure. Pressure kills attraction. When a woman feels like she is being evaluated, chased, or pushed toward a decision, her instinct is to pull back. Indifference removes that pressure completely. She feels free to explore the connection without expectation. Ironically, this freedom makes her more likely to invest emotionally. People value what they choose freely, not what is demanded from them. When you display indifference, you also demonstrate emotional self-control. Emotional self-control is one of the most attractive traits a man can possess. It shows that you are not ruled by impulse or fear. You are capable of pausing, observing, and responding thoughtfully. This emotional stability creates a sense of safety, which allows attraction to deepen over time. Women may chase excitement in short-term situations, but for real emotional investment, they are drawn to stability and strength. Desire, especially when expressed too early, often carries an undercurrent of fear. Fear of losing her again, fear of missing the chance, fear of being alone. Women feel this fear even when it is unspoken. It creates an imbalance where she becomes the prize and you become the pursuer. Indifference restores balance. It communicates that you value connection, but you value yourself more. This balance is essential for healthy attraction. Indifference also protects you. When you remain emotionally detached from the outcome, you are able to see her behavior clearly. You notice whether her actions align with her words. You observe whether she is genuinely investing or simply seeking validation. Many women return not because they want a relationship, but because they want reassurance that they are still desired. If you rush in with desire, you give her that validation for free. If you remain indifferent, she must earn your attention through consistent behavior. This is where many men fail. They assume that showing desire is the same as showing confidence. It is not. Confidence is quiet. Confidence does not chase. Confidence does not explain itself. Confidence allows things to unfold. Desire, when unchecked, becomes needy. It accelerates timelines, pushes conversations toward commitment, and creates emotional pressure. Indifference slows everything down. It allows attraction to rebuild at a natural pace. When a woman senses indifference, she often begins to test it. She may flirt and then pull back. She may delay responses. She may bring up other men. These behaviors are designed to see if she can still provoke an emotional reaction from you. If you react, you reveal attachment. If you remain calm and unaffected, you pass the test. Each time you pass, her respect grows. Respect is the foundation of lasting attraction. Indifference also communicates that you have options. Even if you are not actively dating other women, your behavior suggests that your happiness does not depend on one person. Women are instinctively drawn to men who are chosen by others, or at least capable of being chosen. This is social proof at an emotional level. You don't need to talk about other women or try to make her jealous. Your calm confidence does all the work. One of the most misunderstood aspects of indifference is that it actually allows deeper connection to form. When you are not trying to control the outcome, you become more present, you listen better, you respond authentically. You are not performing or strategizing. This authenticity creates genuine moments of connection that feel effortless and real. Women can sense when a man is fully present without expectation, and it is deeply attractive. Indifference also shifts responsibility. Instead of you carrying the emotional weight of making things work, she begins to invest. She asks questions. She reaches out. She initiates contact. This investment is crucial. Attraction grows when a woman feels she is choosing you, not being pursued relentlessly. Indifference creates the space for her to step forward emotionally. It is important to understand that indifference does not guarantee she will come back fully, and that must be okay. If you use indifference as a tactic to get her back, it will eventually fail because it is still outcome dependent. True indifference means you are genuinely okay with whatever happens. You are open to connection, but you are not attached to a specific person or result. This mindset is what makes you attractive not just to her, but to women in general. When a woman returns after you have let her go, the surface interaction may appear casual, friendly, or even affectionate, but beneath that surface is a constant emotional assessment taking place. She is watching, listening, and feeling for one specific thing, whether she can still affect you the way she once did. This is why she will often push your buttons. These pushes are rarely obvious or aggressive. They are subtle, emotional probes designed to see if you are still reactive, still predictable, and still emotionally available in the same way. Reactivity is the real test, not your words, not your intentions, and not your explanations. Women test emotionally because attraction is emotional. Logic does not create desire, emotional experience does. When she tests you, she is not trying to be cruel or manipulative in a conscious sense. She is following instinct. She wants to feel that the man in front of her is emotionally solid, unshakable, and grounded. If she senses instability, defensiveness, or emotional volatility, attraction collapses. If she senses calm confidence and emotional control, attraction grows. These tests often show up in familiar forms. She may bring up past arguments or mistakes and frame them in a way that invites you to defend yourself. She may question your intentions, asking what you want now or where you see things going, not because she wants clarity, but because she wants to see if you rush to reassure her. She may flirt heavily one moment and pull away the next, watching closely to see if the distance unsettles you. She may casually mention other men, past or present, to observe whether jealousy surfaces. Each of these behaviors is designed to create an emotional reaction. The reaction is the answer she is looking for. Most men fail these tests because they take them personally. They assume she is attacking them, doubting them, or disrespecting them. In response, they explain, justify, defend, or emotionally engage. This feels reasonable from a logical perspective, but emotionally it signals weakness. Defensiveness communicates insecurity. Over-explaining communicates a need to be understood. Emotional reactions communicate loss of control. None of these traits inspire attraction. A man who passes these tests understands that emotional control is more important than emotional expression in these moments. He does not suppress emotions in a rigid or cold way. He simply does not allow his emotions to dictate his behavior. He listens without reacting. He responds without urgency. He stays relaxed even when the topic is uncomfortable. This calm presence communicates strength at a level words never could. One of the most powerful responses to emotional testing is non-reactivity paired with lightness. When she brings up something designed to provoke, he does not argue or correct her perception. He may smile, make a playful comment, or acknowledge her feeling without validating the narrative. This shows emotional intelligence. He is neither dismissive nor reactive. He remains centered in himself. For example, when she says something like, "You always used to disappear when things got serious," the reactive man jumps in to defend himself, listing reasons and explanations. The grounded man simply acknowledges without emotional charge. He might respond calmly, "That's how you remember it," and move on. This response does not invite conflict or emotional escalation. It subtly communicates that he is not controlled by her perception of him. Another common test is inconsistency. She may initiate contact enthusiastically and then suddenly go quiet. This is a classic way to see if you will chase, double, text, or seek reassurance. The reactive man panics internally and reaches out to reestablish connection. The emotionally stable man notices the shift and continues with his life. He responds when appropriate, without changing his behavior or emotional state. This consistency tells her that his sense of self is not dependent on her attention. Women also test through vulnerability. She may share emotional stories or express confusion about her feelings. This can feel like an invitation to step in, fix things, or push for commitment. But even vulnerability can be a test. She is watching to see if you remain grounded or if you take on the role of emotional caretaker. The man who passes listens, empathizes, and stays present without trying to steer the situation toward an outcome. He allows her to feel without trying to control where it leads. The deeper reason women test is safety. Emotional safety is not created by reassurance or promises. It is created by consistency and self-control. A man who reacts emotionally to stress, uncertainty, or provocation does not feel safe at a primal level. A man who remains steady under pressure does. This steadiness signals that he can handle challenges, conflict, and unpredictability without losing himself. It is important to understand that passing these tests does not mean tolerating disrespect. There is a difference between emotional testing and boundary violations. A grounded man does not allow repeated disrespect or manipulation. He simply addresses it calmly and directly when necessary, without anger or drama. His boundaries are clear, but they are not enforced emotionally. They are enforced through action and consistency. Another subtle test is comparison. She may compare you to who you used to be or to other men. This is designed to see if you feel threatened or inferior. The reactive man tries to compete or prove his worth. The emotionally stable man does not engage in comparison at all. He understands that his value is not determined by external rankings. This quiet confidence is deeply attractive. Passing these tests also requires patience. Women do not test once and decide. They test repeatedly over time, especially if there is history. Each interaction is another data point. If you pass consistently, trust and attraction rebuild naturally. If you fail even once with a strong emotional reaction, it can undo weeks of progress. This is why emotional discipline is critical. Many men believe that being emotionally expressive is the key to connection. Expression has its place, but timing matters. When a woman is testing, she is not looking for emotional intensity. She is looking for emotional stability. Intensity without stability feels chaotic. Stability without intensity feels safe and attractive. Intensity can come later, once respect is reestablished. It is also crucial not to confuse reactivity with honesty. You can be honest without being reactive. You can express preferences without emotional charge. You can disagree without defensiveness. The tone matters more than the content. A calm tone communicates confidence even when the message is firm. What makes these tests challenging is that they often trigger old emotional patterns. If you were previously reactive, jealous, or insecure, she may push those same buttons again. This is why her return is such a powerful mirror of your growth. If you have not done the internal work, her behavior will feel overwhelming. If you have, it will feel manageable and even predictable. Another key aspect is silence. Sometimes the test is silence itself. She may pull back and wait to see if you fill the space with anxiety. Silence is uncomfortable for many men because it creates uncertainty. The emotionally stable man is comfortable with silence. He does not rush to resolve it. This comfort signals confidence and self-sufficiency. Ultimately, these tests are not obstacles, they are opportunities. They give you a chance to demonstrate who you have become without saying a word. Each calm response rewrites her emotional memory of you. She begins to associate you with steadiness instead of stress, confidence instead of insecurity, presence instead of pressure. If she realizes she can no longer destabilize you emotionally, something profound happens. She stops testing as much. The dynamic shifts. Respect replaces doubt. Attraction replaces ambivalence. This does not guarantee a relationship, but it creates the conditions where one is possible. The man who passes these tests does not do so by trying to pass them. He passes them because he no longer needs approval, validation, or control. He is grounded in himself. He is willing to lose the connection rather than lose his self-respect. That willingness is felt at an emotional level, and it changes everything. When a woman comes back after you have already let her go once, the most important factor determining the outcome is not how much she feels for you, how attracted she is in the moment, or how well things seem to be going. The deciding factor is whether you are truly willing to lose her again. This is the final and most difficult test because it forces you to confront your deepest fear, abandonment. Most men fail here not because they lack confidence on the surface, but because internally they are still attached to a specific outcome. Women sense this attachment instantly, and the moment they do, the power dynamic shifts back into imbalance. Willingness to lose her again does not mean you want her gone or that you are emotionally closed. It means you are not negotiating your self-respect, boundaries, or emotional stability to keep her. You are open, present, and engaged, but you are not clinging. This distinction is subtle but profound. A man who is willing to lose a woman is a man who knows he will be okay without her. That knowledge is felt emotionally, not logically, and it is one of the strongest attraction triggers there is. When a woman returns, she often brings uncertainty with her. She may be unsure of what she wants, unclear about commitment, or inconsistent in her behavior. Many men respond to this uncertainty by trying to lock things down quickly. They push for clarity, exclusivity, or reassurance. This comes from fear, not love. Fear of losing the opportunity, fear of being hurt again, fear of ending up alone. Unfortunately, fear-driven behavior always repels attraction. The more you try to secure her, the more she feels trapped, and the more she pulls away. A man who is willing to lose her again does the opposite. He allows uncertainty to exist without trying to resolve it. He understands that attraction cannot be forced, and that commitment, if it comes, must be chosen freely. He does not ask for guarantees. He does not pressure her to define the relationship. He does not sacrifice his pace or principles to keep her comfortable. This calm acceptance of uncertainty communicates emotional strength and maturity. One of the clearest ways this willingness shows up is in boundaries. When a woman comes back, she may want the benefits of connection without the responsibility of commitment. She may seek emotional intimacy, attention, and validation while keeping her options open. A man who fears losing her will accept this arrangement, hoping it leads to more. A man who is willing to lose her will not. He is clear about what he wants, but he does not argue or negotiate. If her behavior does not align with his standards, he calmly steps back. This is not punishment or manipulation. It is self-respect in action. This is where many men confuse strength with control. They believe being strong means setting ultimatums or trying to influence her decisions. True strength is non-attachment. It is the ability to say, "This is what I want, and if it doesn't align with what you want, that's okay," and mean it. Women feel the difference immediately. Non-attachment removes pressure and replaces it with respect. Another aspect of being willing to lose her again is emotional pacing. When things start going well, it is tempting to accelerate intimacy. You may want to spend more time together, communicate constantly, or revisit old plans for the future. This acceleration often comes from fear of losing momentum. The grounded man resists this urge. He allows connection to build naturally. He matches her investment without exceeding it. He does not overgive or overpursue. This pacing keeps the dynamic balanced and prevents emotional burnout. Women are highly sensitive to imbalance. If she feels that you are more invested than she is, she instinctively pulls back. This is not cruelty, it is biology. Attraction thrives on polarity, and polarity requires balance. Willingness to lose her maintains that balance. It ensures that you are not chasing her emotional state or trying to manage her feelings. Being willing to lose her also means you are honest with yourself. You are not romanticizing her return or ignoring red flags because of hope. You observe her behavior objectively. You notice whether she is consistent, respectful, and emotionally available. If she is not, you do not rationalize it away. You accept reality as it is. This clarity is essential for long-term happiness, regardless of the outcome with her. One of the most powerful moments in this dynamic often happens internally, not externally. It is the moment you realize that your life does not pause or shrink without her. You still have purpose, direction, and fulfillment. When this realization becomes genuine, your behavior changes effortlessly. You stop monitoring her responses. You stop reading into every message. You stop needing reassurance. This internal shift is what women respond to most. Women do not want to be responsible for a man's happiness. That responsibility feels heavy and unattractive. When she senses that you are okay with or without her, she feels free to choose you rather than obligated to stay. Choice is the foundation of desire. Obligation kills it. There is also a paradox here. The more willing you are to lose her, the more likely she is to stay. This is not because you are manipulating her, but because you are no longer trying to control the outcome. Control creates resistance. Freedom creates attraction. When she feels free, she leans in. When she feels pressured, she pulls away. This willingness also protects you from repeating old patterns. If the relationship ended before due to imbalance, neediness, or lack of boundaries, those patterns will reemerge if you are not willing to walk away. Her return is an opportunity to do things differently, but only if you are prepared to enforce your standards. Without the willingness to lose her, standards become negotiable, and history repeats itself. Another subtle but important aspect is self-trust. Being willing to lose her again means you trust yourself to handle the emotional outcome. You trust that you can process disappointment, grief, or loss without collapsing. This self-trust is empowering. It frees you from fear-based decisions. Women sense this resilience and are drawn to it because it signals emotional safety and maturity. It is also important to understand that sometimes the right outcome is that she does not come back fully. Sometimes her return is temporary, driven by nostalgia or curiosity. If you are not willing to lose her, you may cling to something that is not aligned with your long-term well-being. If you are willing to lose her, you can let go gracefully and move forward without resentment or regret. Willingness to lose her again does not make you cold or unfeeling. It makes you grounded. You still feel attraction, affection, and interest, but these feelings do not control your actions. You lead with values instead of fear. This leadership creates a sense of direction in the dynamic, which is deeply attractive. In the end, this is the ultimate test because it reveals whether you have truly grown. Growth is not measured by whether you get her back. It is measured by whether you can remain centered regardless of the outcome. If you can enjoy her presence without clinging, set boundaries without anger, and walk away without bitterness, you have passed the test. When a woman senses that you are willing to lose her again, she must make a choice. She can either step into your frame, invest emotionally, and meet you at your level, or she can walk away. Either choice leads you forward. One leads to a healthier connection. The other leads to freedom and self-respect. That is the power of willingness, not the willingness to fight for someone who is unsure, but the willingness to stand firm in who you are, even if it means standing alone.